All right, it is 7 o'clock. Let's get started. So, welcome. This is my little training session webinar on becoming cause over your time and income. And if you'll notice down in the corner there, I've made this part one because when I actually sat down to lay out just the basic information to get people started, I realized there was way more then we could really cover just in one webinar, but we're going to get going and get into it. And there will be a part two in the future. All right, so first, can you hear me? Just type in your chat box, yes or no. If you can't hear me, make sure your sound is turned on. All right, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Bear with me for a second. Okay, good. Excellent. Yes, 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 yes. This is good. All right. Good. So let's continue. All right, so how to get the most out of this webinar. Turn everything off in the background, phones, kids are hopefully in another room, or, just close your door, give me your attention because I have good stuff. I have good stuff in this webinar. Okay, and then stay tuned at the end. Okay, normally when I do a webinar for work and whatnot, I have an assistant who helps me handle the questions and whatnot while I go. This is kind of like just an extra webinar I'm trying to do for people just to help everybody out. And so I don't have my assistant, so we're gonna do all the questions at the end. So as we go, if you have questions, go ahead and ask them, and then just know that at the end, I'll get to all of them. All right, so who am I? Okay, my name's Jessica Greenwood. I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids. I'm Clear, Superpower, Cause Resurgence Rundown, L11. Currently on my OT preps. And I've been working from home and supporting my family for 8 years. So I've had to hustle and really figure out how to do this. This just gives you a little bit of a history because I don't want to waste your time. I want you to know who I am and why I am qualified to teach you what I'm teaching you. So in 2007, I became a single mom, and I was working a regular job, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever, and I got fired because we all came down with the flu around the same time, and there was no one else who could take care of my kids, and I missed too many days from work, so I got fired. I started going like, okay, this doesn't work, like this. So I started to try to figure out how I could possibly work from home. Now this was 2007 and 2008, and the opportunities to work from home were like basically not there. It was not an easy thing to do, right? And then I got fired again for basically the same reason, like needing to handle things with my kids and having to leave the office because my kids needed a change of clothes, et cetera, and I got fired again. Fortunately, around that time, I had been like looking for ways to solve this situation because I was miserable, right? I had 2 young children and I was commuting 45 minutes and going to and from work, and I was totally miserable. And I acquired around that time my first client in my medical billing service. So fortunately, like the timing could have been better. It was a little scary. For those of you who've seen my video on how I made that all go right, it was a little scary, but I did, and I got up and running as a billing service, and that is when my whole world changed. That is when I was able to make enough money for my entire family, and I was able to work just a few hours a day. In the beginning, I would work late at night when my kids were sleeping because they were little, and then I would work during the day, and it was fantastic. After that, I started training office staff. That's kind of when I got my educator trainer hat on. I started training medical office staff with my billing experience. And then in 2015, I was on SRD, and I was on it for 60 hours a week. So I would come into the Hourglass and I would work from my laptop, and then I would go on SRD from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. And my kids were on course, and we just kind of reorganized our whole life to make this happen. But at that time, I had a bunch of people coming up to me going, how are you doing this? Like, I don't understand how you're working a few hours in the morning and supporting your whole family and then being on SRD, right? Because if I didn't have a source of income that allowed me to support my family on a couple hours a day, like none of that would have been possible, right? So at that time, so I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was kind of like, God, I have all these people asking me, what do I do? But I personally am not going to hire them. So how do I, take this inflow that I'm getting and actually help people? And that's when I started training other people in our area to start their own medical billing service and be able to have the flexibility and the money and whatever. And that's where I kind of like got my throughout the whole time, I found other sources of income here and there, and I've done other things. But when I started training these billing service owners, I really was like, okay, like so far, right? The percentage of entrepreneurs who are successful is like 1%. And the percentage of multi-level marketing people who get up and going is even smaller, I believe. Somewhere around there. And yet my guys are getting up and going. So far, I don't have anyone who should be up and going who's not. So that's kind of insane. So that's when I realized, okay, I'm kind of onto something here with regards to how to start this kind of a business. Now, this webinar is not about a billing service. It's not. This webinar is about the basics so that you guys can take the data and you can start to go get cause over your income and your time and figure out a solution that works for you. With this regard, it's not about the billing service. This is not meant to promote that or anything. That's my background. All right, and then after I finally figured this out and I was actually able to work for a few hours during the day and be there for my kids and not have so much stress and whatnot, I'm not kidding you, I spent that entire year. I would work and I would go lay out by the pool. And it was kind of amazing. Like, I really understand how important it is to get a source of income that you're cause over, because like it changes your whole world. It really does. So that's success. That's us playing by the pool. Okay, good. So really quickly, this is success stories. So Sonia says, I've started my own billing company a few months ago. By following Jessica's advice, I now have 3 clients and a 4th one in the making. So now I actually have my business running very well. And whenever I have questions, I still bug and text Jessica, and she is always there to help. So I never feel lonely and on my own, which is awesome. She's also moving up the bridge. And then Felix, I love Felix, says, Jessica has helped me bring in thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of revenue, not just through creating word of mouth, but by creating the exact right mix of PR, marketing, mystique, and media attention to create a situation that managed to surprise me again and again. When I'm stuck with lack of sales, projects not moving forward, or any marketing advice, Jessica's who I turn to. She's worth her weight in gold. So again, like that, Felix is a photographer. And we use social media and we launched his career, which is awesome because that's all he does. He makes all of his, now Felix is a powerhouse, but he makes all of his money doing that. So that's cool. And then lastly, Kat just says, Jessica's brilliant. There's no other way to say it. When Jessica steps in to consult with her thorough understanding of all aspects of billing and collections, even the most frustrating confusions become clear and simple. Can't recommend her enough. So cool. So it's super awkward reading those, but I really want you guys to understand that I know what I'm talking about in this area. I've actually managed to get people out of the 9-to-5 and be super successful numerous times. And what I'm going to go over in this webinar is exactly how to do that. Okay, so tell me, is your current income where it needs to be? And just go ahead and put it in the chat box with a Q&A box, and just let me know, like, is your current income where you want it to be? And then tell me, is your current schedule as flexible as you would like it to be? Like, what's your situation there? And what are you hoping to learn about in this webinar? Go ahead and just type that in. That gives me a good idea so that I know what you guys need and want, and how I can help you. All right. So the purpose of this webinar is to give basics, inspire action, and give you a starting point. All right, now what do you need to know? First of all, you need to know that it's changed. The landscape with regards to working from home or independent sources of income has drastically changed over the last few years. So, like I said, it was a different scene in 2007 and 2008. And it is very different now. It has drastically changed for the better. I genuinely believe that there is no better time than now to do this. And yeah, it really has. It's changed. Good. Your ideal scene. So this is so important. A good firm grasp of your ideal scene is everything, and is the roadmap you should be using to navigate income opportunities. So listen, in the past, because we've had a very narrow selection of ways to make money, we have sort of developed this habit to run where we think the money is, and run where we think we're going to make the most money, right? Without looking at what is our ideal scene? What do we actually need? What do we actually like doing, right? So this is super important. There are so many ways to make money now in this current climate that your best bet for success is to do something you actually really enjoy doing. So this is why ideal scene is super important. And it's also very important because you need to think with, like, you know, what is your long-term ideal scene and what is your short-term situation, and find something that's actually going to work for that. If you are desperately needing to pay rent next month, you're going to need to find a short-term income solution right away, not necessarily pick up a business, building a business that's going to take, you know, a year or two to really ramp up, right? So it's important. Okay, so what are you going to learn? The 3 types of work from home income, I'm going to go over that so that you know what you're looking for. How to choose a source of income that will work for you. We'll go over that. What to watch out for when choosing a source of income, like kind of like red flags. What do you not want? And then why people fail at getting their endeavor off of the ground. Good. And then we're also going to go over the biggest and most effective resource for generating income that 98% of you aren't using properly. This is big, like big, big. Okay, so, and then also current resources for making money now, right? Because there's long-term, what kind of life are we trying to build? And then sometimes there's like the short-term, I need money right now. Okay, so the truth is there's no better time than now to make money on your own terms. Literally, I'm not kidding you. I feel like that's something that people say when they're trying to sell you something. There's no better time than now to do it. But I'm not trying to sell you anything, and I'm telling you that there's no better time than now to get control over your income. There's right now, the opportunities for making money are enormous, and it's not overly populated yet. Okay, so also work from home, right? I say work from home because that's kind of like the buzzword, but it really means work from anywhere, right? Anywhere where there's Wi-Fi, you can work, which is awesome because, like I said, I would work from the Hourglass. You know, you can from anywhere. It's great. Or I go on vacation sometimes and I'm able to do work right from the hotel room. Like this lady. I love this picture. Okay, but it also means, right, being home with your kids. That's a big thing, right? If you have a flexible schedule that allows you to work and also be there for your kids, that's awesome. Or even just means if your kid is sick or they're taking 2 weeks off for Christmas vacation, you don't have to scramble and find a babysitter. You're there and it's cool, right? It's the ability to fund your goals in life, right? Because on a fixed salary, sometimes that's very hard to do. The ability to be cause over your own schedule, right? Which is, to me, that's huge. Like, I hate it when somebody else is dictating where I have to be and when. Like, I want to be able to make my own schedule. And then sometimes I just get up in the middle of the week and I'm like, okay, we're going to Disney World today. Like, cool, because I can, right? I still make sure my clients are delivered to. And I mean, sometimes I work from Disney. You can ask my guys. I've totally called them from Disney World. But that's cool because I'm in control over it, right? If I want to work a 12-hour day, I can. And if I want to take off and go to Disney, I can. And that's a freedom that is it's very nice. It's something that I really wish other people had. Good. And then also sometimes people want to bring both parents home, right? Like maybe I have a trainee whose husband travels a lot. And so sometimes the idea is, okay, we build up this source of income from home, and then eventually, my spouse, one or both spouses, can stop what they're doing and also come contribute to what we're doing from home, which is awesome, right? But the thing is, right, again, it's ideal scene, right? Like maybe if you love your job, you don't want to do that. That's not your ideal scene, right? If it is, cool. And if it isn't, that's cool too. You just got to figure out what it is and then, build around that. All right. And this is my picture. I was joking around with someone a couple weeks ago about how our bed is our office. It's so true. I also joke that people say dress for success and that, they're implying like put on a suit and whatever. And I'm always like, listen, if I can work from my PJs or my yoga pants, I consider myself successful, right? Anyway. Okay, so here we go. The types of income, right? This is the types of income. One is a remote employee. It's also sometimes called telecommuting, which I make that note there because if you're going to Google search for these, they are sometimes called telecommuting. And what that is companies that hire people and they're remote employees, okay? This used to be pretty rare. Employers more and more are comfortable with people working remotely. And more and more companies are actually going like, hey, this isn't such a bad deal because we're not now paying for the overhead. So companies like Amazon, insurance companies, any big company with customer service, etc., will hire remote employees. I have a friend whose he's an SEO company, and his entire company is remote employees. Like they're in Chicago and Nashville and Florida, and they're all remote, and it works, right? So that's available, and again, called telecommuting as well. All right, now the second type is the hang out a shingle, right? Which means to start your own business, or as it's often called, a side hustle, right? So this is like your own creation. You go, okay, I'm going to create baby bonnets and sell them, right? That's that one. And then the third type is multi-level marketing, also called network marketing. So that's your LuLaRoes and your New Skin machines and Tupperware and anything else that's sold like that, right? Okay, good. So on the remote employee, the advantages to that, right, are stability, because you're employed, benefits, right, because usually employees wind up with health benefits, and there's income right away. So you can get a remote employee job, and whatever the delay for a paycheck is all you're going to wait, right? It's different than building your own business where there can be a longer delay. So again, depending on your ideal scene, that might work for you, right? So the disadvantages are an income ceiling. It's usually a flat rate, $15 an hour to do customer service for Amazon from your living room, right? Your time is dictated by someone else. Like in the example of my friend who has a whole company that's remote, they're all remote, but they all still clock in at 9 and they work a full day, and that's how that goes, right? They're doing it from home, which is nice, but their time is still dictated by someone else. And then your energy and effort goes towards someone else's create, right? So to me, that's kind of a big deal that a lot of people don't realize, and that is when you're working for someone else, you're building their dream, right? And for some people, that's perfect. Like they don't want to build a company. They just want to flow power to the person that has the company or the dream, right? And that's okay. But if you are someone who has your own vision or dream in that regard, all that time that you're working for someone else, it is going to someone else's create. Someday, someone else is going to sell that company and make a large profit, and you will have only had your salary, right? So it's a trade-off. All right, so the hang out a shingle. So the advantage is it's all your own, right? And that's like all your own. If you sell it, you get a profit. It's all your own. But if it tanks, it's all you too, right? There's no income ceiling. You can make as much as you can produce. Your time is dictated by you. So you, like I said, you can work a 12-hour day, or you can take a day off and go to Disney World. It's up to you. If you're building a large company, those people who are successful, they usually work a lot. And then you have a power of choice to do what you love. So if you have something that you really love to do or that you're really good at, you can do that. Disadvantages is it takes time to build. Building a business takes time. And it doesn't have to take a long time, but it does take time to get that going, to get the outflow, to get it all ramped up. There's less stability in the beginning, right? You're not just paycheck to paycheck, right? You make the money or you don't. And it requires going out of your comfort zone, right? So if you're starting your own business, you can do the thing that you love, but you're also going to do some things that you don't love, okay? Because let's take our baby bonnets, right? So let's say you like making baby bonnets and that's what you want to do. That's cool, okay? So you're going to get to make the baby bonnets. But you also have to market the baby bonnets and sell the baby bonnets and deliver customer service on the baby bonnets and package the baby bonnets and, et cetera, and pay taxes on the sales on the baby bonnets. So, you don't get to just plug in at a company and do one thing. You do all things, or you outsource, you hire someone. Okay, good. Multi-level marketing, advantages. It's a built-in product, right? So you don't have to bring a product to the market or develop it. It's already built in. And usually the marketing material is built in as well. There's no income ceiling usually, so that's good, right? You can sell as many leggings as you can sell. Your time is dictated by you, so however much you put in or don't put in, it's up to you. Disadvantages is it can take time to build. There is, right, it just takes time to build. Inevitably, what I observe is that it takes more than most people think that it does, and that's applicable to any business. But it takes more effort usually than what's anticipated. Oversaturation. So in the example of LuLaRoe and leggings, right? Like one person starts doing it and they get really successful, and then a whole bunch of people jump on board. And next thing you know, your Facebook news feed is like one LuLaRoe legging seller after another, right? So that oversaturation really is something that the sellers have to work through. And so that's definitely, and that's not just multi-level marketing, that's really in anything, but it's definitely a large factor in multi-level marketing. You're at the mercy of another's business. Okay, so you have no control over product. You have no control over the quality of it. You have no control over large business decisions. And that can, somebody else's poor business decision or poor quality product can drastically affect your business and your stability, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? And it tends to be short term. Okay, so usually, now there are some exceptions, of course, right? Like I've known Avon ladies who've sold Avon for years and years and years, right? So cool. But for the most part, this is multi-level marketing. Things are not something done over a long period of time. It's not a like, I'm going to be doing this for the next 10 years kind of a thing. Okay, good. All right. So how do I choose, right? Like, how do you know where to start? This is how. You weigh your ideal scene against your current scene. That's where you to start with, right? Okay, what's your ideal scene and what's your current scene? You have to get a grasp on both, right? You absolutely have to. If you can't pay rent next month and you're trying to build a business and you may not see income for 8 months and you kind of whistle past the graveyard with regards to that, you're in trouble, right? Or if you get blinded by dollar signs and go jump into something that you don't love, you're going to find yourself having to start at square one again in 6 months to a year because you realize you hate what you're doing, right? So you really have to weigh your ideal scene and your current scene. And by the way, if you guys hear noise in the background, it's my kids. I don't usually do webinars at after dinner, but I wanted to get those of you who couldn't make the 12:31. So that's what all the clanking is. All right, so then you ask yourself, what am I trying to create, right? Get a good grasp on what you're trying to create. Here's the thing, okay? The thing is to not get romantic about it and is to actually look at the reality of it, right? So what are you trying to create? Okay, maybe you want to be a writer, okay? You want to write fiction, right? And that's what you love to do, okay? So you can look at, okay, how am I going to make a lot of money as a writer? And you can also look at, okay, what line of income would support my ability to just stay home and write most of the day, right? And then give myself the time to build a writing career, right? So you really want to ask yourself, like, what am I trying to create? You also look at, okay, so I want to buy this house and blah, blah, and that, like, what is the estimation of effort financially with regards to that? All right, and then what do I want to be doing? That is so important. I used to focus on what do I want to have? What do I want to have? Well, I want to have bridge, and I want to have a house, and I want to have another house in the mountains, and I want to have. And my FSM, Jim Mathers, who's amazing, actually came up to me and he was like, hold up, like, no, what do you want to do? What do you actually want to be doing every day? Because that's the thing that's going to be successful, right? If you just look at what do I want to have and then what thing is going to make me all that money so I can have what I have, you might find yourself doing something you hate. And if you're doing something you hate or that makes you miserable, you are not going to do it enough to overcome the obstacles that get presented to you, right? So what do I want to be doing is super important. Now, again, this doesn't mean you're only ever going to do things that you love, because that's impossible, right? That does not happen. But you really need to look at, where do I want to spend my energy, right? What do I want to be doing? If I want to write all day long, then I may need to find a source of income that allows me to work a few hours a day. Maybe I don't totally love the way that I'm making the money, but I'm only having to work a few hours a day, and it's keeping the roof over my head so that I can spend the other 7 or 8 hours a day writing. And that would make me super happy. That's what I want to do, right? So really look at that. It's super important. Okay, now what to watch out for, my cute little guy in the hat. Oversaturation. So whatever you're looking at, if you're looking at a source of income right now or whatever, look for oversaturation. Look for too much of that thing or too many people doing it or too much competition, because it's just harder. Like you want to look for where you can solve a problem, right? It's white space. It's where there's an emptiness, where there's a vacuum. Somebody defined an entrepreneur the other day as someone who sees a problem and takes responsibility for it. And I thought that was genius, right? And that is to me strategically the smartest way to find a source of income, is to find a problem and then take responsibility for it and figure out how you can solve it, right? So if you're looking for that, you're gonna stay away from the oversaturated areas, because you're looking for a problem that isn't being solved, right? Not a problem that 25 million people are hammering at the person to try to solve it for them, right? So oversaturation is definitely something to look out for. It doesn't mean that you still can't be successful, but you're going to have a harder time of it. Okay, so ability and willingness to buy. So when you're looking at a source of income, you want to look at the ability to buy, right? How much money flows on those lines, okay? One of the reasons why, look, I'm an artist. That's all I've ever done is acting and singing and artistic things, right? And I got into medical billing because it is on the flow of a lot of money, right? So their ability to buy, their ability to pay me large amounts every couple weeks is there. It's very, very there, right? Because it's on the flow of a lot of money. So their ability to buy is super important. The willingness, well, let me back up. Also on the ability to buy, not being able to buy is important too, right? Like I was helping my daughter get a little clothing business started where she would put together cute outfits and sell them. And her friends were all super willing to buy everything she had because it was really cute, but their ability to buy wasn't there, right? They go back to their parents and their parents would just say no or brush them off and they weren't able to actually buy it. So it's that balance of ability and willingness, right? I have the Christmas picture here because if you were to go to somebody in the middle of March and try to convince them that they should buy a feast and buy all their family members presents and spend all the money that they spend around the holiday season for no reason, randomly in the middle of March, they would look at you like you were crazy, right? Yet our willingness to do that, our willingness to go into debt, our willingness to spend a lot of money around the holidays is suddenly there, right? And this is when retail stores all make all their money, is because all of a sudden people's willingness to just spend money that they don't, actually need is there, right? So the ability and the willingness to buy is super important. All right, and then the longevity, right? The longevity of the activity, like how, no matter what you're doing, you're going to have some work in getting it up and going, unless you're doing like remote employee, right? It doesn't matter if it's multi-level marketing or you're starting your own business. There is a period of time of getting it going, some longer than others, right? So the longevity matters. Like pick something that you can do for a while that isn't going to go away in 8 months or a year, or like actually look and see if there's a future there. Okay, so I'm going to drink a little bit of water before I lose my voice. Okay, so why do people fail? One, the biggest reason is that they underestimate the amount of effort required to actually be successful. Now, here's the thing. Virtually everyone that I've ever observed underestimates the amount of effort required. But some people just keep going anyway, right? They regroup and they go, okay, more outflow, more this, like because it's just hard to estimate the barriers you're gonna run into, right? So yeah, so they underestimate the amount of effort. Look, if you're doing something and you're finding yourself getting frustrated, or that thing starts coming in of like, oh, maybe this was a bad idea, or maybe I'm a failure, or maybe I'm not good at this, all that is that you misestimated the amount of effort it was going to take, right? You thought it was going to take 10 steps and it actually takes 100, right? So you get frustrated. But if you'd estimated 100 from the beginning, or estimated 10 and then said, well, to be safe, I'm going to plan on 100, you wouldn't be so frustrated and you wouldn't have that whole like, I'm a failure thing happening. All right. Number 2 is, from my observation, is a lack of accountability or necessity level. I know when I come across someone who I'm training and they have a high necessity level, like maybe they're a single parent, or they have to make something go right because they're running out of money or whatever. I know they're going to be successful because they have to be successful, because their necessity level is there. They have to be successful. And that necessity level is where magic happens, right? That's where you pull off things that you maybe would otherwise not have, right? Like I've actually gotten to the point in my life where whenever it gets a little bit stressful and I'm like, oh my gosh, this has to, like, I kind of like putting myself in situations where it's like do or die, because I know I'll pull it off, right? If it's kind of like, it could go either way, I can get a little lazy. Everyone can, right? So necessity level is super important. But that doesn't mean you need to go like creating financial disasters, right? Because accountability can also help with that, right? So like with my guys, we have a group and we keep each other accountable, right? And even somebody posting wins on the new clients they're getting or whatever keeps the other people who maybe have started to sit back or slack a little bit, they go like, oh, I better get it in gear, right? So accountability or necessity level is super important. If you don't have a high necessity because your bills are covered and it would just be nice, then get someone who can keep you accountable. Like really up the accountability, or make it public. Like, okay, this is my target and I want all my Facebook friends to keep me accountable, right? Because it puts the pressure on, and the pressure is actually a really good thing. All right. And then lastly, they weren't on fire enough about it. So what I mean by that is down at the bottom, it says, love the thing or hang it to the thing you love. Okay, so what that means is either love what you're doing or building so much that you want to do it day and night all the time, or hang it to the thing that you love, right? So like in the example of the writer, okay, if you were to take a writer and say, I want you to do medical billing all day long, they would hate it. But if you were to take a writer and say, okay, this medical billing, for example, is the vehicle that is going to allow you to write for 6 to 8 to 10 hours a day. Suddenly they're on fire about it, right? Suddenly they're passionate about it and they're doing it because they have aligned the vehicle that is going to generate the money to the thing that they love. Or they've gone, okay, I really am passionate about teaching kids Spanish. I'm passionate about it, right? Because that gives English-speaking kids more familiarity with other cultures and is going to create more peace and less hate, and they're on fire about it, right? So then they will do all the things necessary and keep going and keep going and keep going and overcome the obstacles, right? But if they're not on fire about it, if they don't really care, they're not going to put enough effort into it in order to overcome the barriers that they're going to run into, right? All right, so here we go. The biggest and most effective resource that 98% of you are not using properly, because you're probably all using it, is social media. So here's the thing. Money follows attention. And where is everyone's attention in this day and age? In their devices, in their laptops, in their tablets, mostly in their phones, right? Money follows attention. So you want to make money or be where the attention is going, and that's how you get on the flow of that money, right? More and more and more people are bailing from TV advertising and billboards and all kinds of things because that's just not where the attention is. Like, look, people used to look out the window when they rode in a car, right? So billboards would catch their attention. Now, where's people's attention when they're in the car? It's in their phone, right? So money follows attention. Okay, so entire businesses are built on Instagram. If you actually go on Instagram, you can find businesses where the whole thing is like built right there on Instagram. It's hugely powerful. Now, I'm not saying you should build a business on Instagram, but I am giving the example that you can actually launch a product and build the entire thing using Instagram. It's that powerful. My trainees, when they get their billing services up and going, a large, probably 90% of where they're getting clients is by using LinkedIn. And it's very easy. You just have to know how to do it, right? And then I personally have made over $100,000 using Facebook alone and not paid advertising. Now, there's nothing wrong with paid advertising, but in my case, I haven't used paid advertising to make that money. So social media is immensely powerful. There's a lot of like, oh, the state of society. And, listen, I grew up an 80s kid. I played outside, so I get it, right? But the truth is that there is a lot of money to be made where people's attention is. So and I'm going to get into this in a minute, but it doesn't mean you have to learn all the social media platforms, but you should learn the platforms where your audience is, right? Once you figure out what kind of income you're going to be making. Okay. So now let's get into the best ways to get started. Okay, so first, discover what you're good at or discover what you love to do, okay? And I would actually suggest sitting down and actually writing in a list of all the things that you're good at, like all the things, not just the corporate things or the workaday world things, like all the things. I make great cupcakes, right? Like I make the world's best brownies. I can trim hedges into shapes of animals, right? Like literally everything. What you're good at and what you love to do, okay? Do you love public speaking? Do you love sewing? Do you love working on cars? Do you love teaching people, right? I discovered that I love teaching people because what I actually love is when they've improved their condition because I've helped them, right? I fell in love with it. I love it, right? So I know whatever I do business-wise is going to be along the line of helping people improve their condition because that's what I love more than anything, right? So make a list of that, and it actually matters, right? Like I don't want you to go look at like, oh, let's look at what people are doing that's making money. Look at what you're good at and look at what you love to do and start making a list, as many things as you can possibly think of. All right. Then what you're going to do is you're going to decide what service or product you can provide, okay? So look at what you're good at, look at what you love to do, and start going like, okay, what could I do? Could I teach people how to make cupcakes? Could I bake cupcakes and put them in local shops? Could I do tutorials on cupcakes? Could I, right? Like, what kind of service or product can you provide in the areas of the things that you're good at and that you love? Now, you don't have to get like super, super specific yet. Just get a good idea that really kind of you go like, yeah, that sounds cool. I like that idea, right? And then establish who would benefit from that service or product. Okay, so you got to figure out, okay, if I'm going to teach people how to make really cute, fancy cupcakes, who would benefit from that? Okay, well, bakers, you know, students who are trying to be bakers, or maybe moms who like, you know, they're high income moms and they put on lavish sweet 16 parties, but they're like, you know, super into do it yourself and they want to like, you know, top all the other moms and make the coolest cupcakes, right? Like you can get super specific. It's good to get super specific. So figure out who would benefit from that service or product. Then you're going to find where they're gathering online, right? So if they're moms, they're on Pinterest and they're probably on Instagram and they're definitely on Facebook, okay? If they're businesses, like, right, for medical billers, a lot of them are on LinkedIn. So we go to LinkedIn. They're also on Facebook, right? If they're teenagers, they're on Snapchat, okay? They are on Snapchat. They're maybe on another app called Musical.ly or maybe Instagram, right? So that's where they are. That's where they're gathering. If they're super political, and they're probably on Twitter, right? Like all kinds of different places that they could be, but you want to find like, okay, where's my audience and where are they gathering, okay? No point on really diving into Twitter if they're not on Twitter, right? My kids, the 11 and 13, they're not on Facebook. They think it's boring. They don't touch it, right? They're on Snapchat. So you want to find out where they're gathering, okay? And then you're going to go there. You're going to create a social media account if you don't already have one, and you're going to listen to what they're saying and engage with what they're saying. You're not going to sell anything. No spam, no being spammy. Just listen and engage and offer value, right? Answer questions, offer some advice, like just get involved. And the reason for that is you want to hear what they're saying. You want to find what you're looking for is the problem that you can take responsibility for and solve, that they will pay you for, right? So in there, you will find you'll find that there's a lot of posts about a particular problem, or there's just a certain area where nobody seems to be jumping in and solving it, right? Like I'm in a Facebook group on webinars, and the repeated problem that people continually have is that webinar software isn't good, right? Like people are just kind of happy with a webinar software that doesn't crash on them, right? So if I were a developer, if that was something I could tackle, I would develop like an amazing webinar software that was like super stable and super user-friendly, right? So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for what problem can you solve, right? If I were maybe really good at cooking or like into health food, and I was a mom, one of the things that I might do is figure out, there's all kinds of these meal delivery services, but if someone, especially when my kids were younger, came up with a meal delivery service for school lunches, I would be all over that. If it was like healthy, organic stuff, school lunches that my kids would love, I would be all over it, particularly in higher income areas, So, those are just examples. Like you're looking for what problem can your skill solve, right? And the way that you find that is by just engaging and listening and ask. You can ask, Facebook groups are huge, right? So there's entire groups of people, like-minded people that you can be a part of and then listen and see what they say, right? Twitter, you can search by words and see what they're saying as well, right? So those are just examples. But that's huge, right? So find the thing that you can solve. All right. And then 4, based on the problems they are communicating, how can what you do or provide them help them? Okay. So like I said, in moms groups, very often people are like, what are you packing for school lunches? Like, I need more ideas. My kid's getting tired of what I buy, so then you can go like, oh gosh, I'm like the master of school lunches. I'm going to develop a local meal plan that's for school lunches, and every Monday and Wednesday they're going to get a delivery of school lunches ready to go, super healthy, super organic, right? That's just one idea, but like there's just a million ideas, and the accessibility to people to be able to promote that, or to be able to say like, hey, just so you know, I do school lunch delivery, right? And then what happens is other people start to know what you do, and then they tag you in posts to solve the problem, right? So like now, whenever somebody asks about, okay, how do I work from home? Usually somebody tags me so that I can then answer the question or give them data or help them out, right? So yeah, social media is huge, and you can do the things you're good at just by doing that. All right, so not only is this the best way to get started, but this formula repeated over and over will continue to help a business expand, okay? One of the killers to any sort of business is they don't innovate, right? Blockbuster, Toys R Us, like the environment is changing and they're staying the same. So if you're always involved and you're always listening and you're looking for like, okay, how can I solve their problem? How can what I do help them? And you're continually doing that, you'll just keep expanding. Okay, good. So here we go. We're going to get into the next topic, which is just current resources for emergency situation money, right? This is like, oh my gosh, I have a bill to pay. I just got, a dental bill, or I need rent, or I just got fired, or whatever, right? Emergency situation money. Okay. Upwork. Upwork.com is a site where people hire you based on skill. Now, I'm going to tell you, Upwork, I think that you could go make money right away, but it's also something that I know people make good part-time income on Upwork, right? Upwork, you can hire writers, you can hire social media experts, you can hire, pretty much any type of thing that you would need, graphic design, logo design, editing, you can hire someone on Upwork. So if you have those skills, actually, what you should do is go to Upwork and start searching for your skill and see if it's something that is deliverable on Upwork. Now, just so you know, virtual assistant is a skill, okay? So just being able to assist someone virtually. So maybe that's filling out a spreadsheet or data entry, or like when I hire someone to assist me on the webinar, they literally just sit there and let me know if I've missed any questions, or, you know, help me with whatever I might need during a webinar. That's a virtual assistant type function, right? Data entry, making phone calls, like anything where you know, you could hire a virtual assistant to send out, you know, emails or messages for promotion, right? So you don't necessarily have to have a certain social media skill or specialized skill. You could actually go into the virtual assistant field, and there are people that hire virtual assistants all the time. Like they'll have a full-time or part-time, or, you know, you can be, if you work 10 hours for one person and 10 hours for another, like, you know, you've got yourself a pretty sweet little part-time gig, and it's virtual assistant. It doesn't require any really super special skill, right? All right. eBay, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace. Okay, so you can take items around your house and sell them on eBay, sell them on Craigslist, or if you're not familiar with Facebook Marketplace, it's relatively newish. You can sell things by location on Facebook Marketplace. eBay is the one where you can ship things. So Craigslist and Facebook are going to be local, and then eBay you can ship. So you can go around your house and find stuff, or you can do arbitrage, which is basically buying things and then turning around and flipping them and selling them for more. So you could actually go on Craigslist and Facebook and then buy things for cheap there, or garage sales, or thrift stores, or the dollar store. You can go into the dollar store, just so you know, and look for things selling for $1 in the dollar store that are selling for $10 on eBay. Buy a bunch of them, list them, sell them, make money, right? And this, again, like, people make entire livings on arbitrage, or they go into thrift stores and find collectibles and things that people are willing to pay more money for and list those on eBay, right? That's kind of what makes eBay really cool is, you know, like, the item might be $1 for me in my local dollar store, but I might not have it in my city in Nebraska, right? Or maybe there's a teddy bear that I had when I was a kid, and some guy found it at a thrift store in Maine, and I'm able to buy it in Arizona, right? So yeah, you can totally do that and make extra money. You just need to get familiar with it. And when you search on eBay, you want to search for, actually, I have a Facebook group that I'm going to give you information to. And in there, I put a little how-to on eBay and exactly how you look and see, like, can I make a profit on this or not? That's in there. So after the webinar, I'm going to email out the link to the Facebook group. You can go in there and get that. I just posted it recently, so it should be easy to find. All right. Affiliate programs. I love affiliate programs. So affiliate programs are programs that pay you to help them procure clients or sell products, okay? So, for example, with my billing service, if you refer someone, or my training for billing service, if you refer someone to it and they sign up, I give you $500, right? That's an affiliate program. Lots of companies have them, especially now that, you know, with the internet, you can recommend people all over the place through your blog or through whatever and earn a commission on that. At one point years ago, I had some bills come up, or was in a little bit of a tight spot financially, and I found out that Uber and Lyft both were looking for drivers. I was in Nashville at the time, in that area, and they were paying $500 and $1,000 if you referred someone and they signed up. So now I found people who could benefit from that line of income and just got them signed up, and then got the $1,000. I made a few $1,000s just on that affiliate program, right? The cool thing about affiliate programs is you can find products that you really like right? And then just ask them, do you have an affiliate program? Like, I worked with these financial service recently, and they were so awesome that when I got done with them, I was like, hey, do you guys have an affiliate program? I want to recommend you to other people. And they were like, yeah, we absolutely do. Here, go here and sign up here. And now when I have somebody that needs help with this particular area, I go, here, contact these guys. And then I get a commission when they sign up, right? But I'm not recommending anything that I don't actually believe in or that isn't a good product. I'm actually finding the products that I really like and going, hey, do you have an affiliate program? And then recommending those and then getting the extra cash, right? Like, you could today go research affiliate programs and start tomorrow making money by recommending other people's products, and when they sign up, you get a commission. And then you can get big commissions, right? Like, my training program is a higher dollar amount, and so I give a larger commission. Or you can do smaller ones, right? Like, you can sign up for Amazon's affiliate program, and anytime somebody buys through your link, you get a small commission, right? I would look for the larger ones. You can Google like high dollar affiliate programs, right? And just start researching like what products are out there that you can recommend, and then get to it. Recommend them. Jump in Facebook's groups with people who might need those products and post the link. And don't be spammy, because people tune it out. They tune out anything that sounds like advertising. But yeah, affiliate programs are awesome. All you have to do is a little digging, find the one that you like and go recommend it to people. All right. We have reached the end of this particular webinar. Afterwards, actually, we're going to get to the Q&A. But after, watch your email, because I'm going to link you to the Facebook group, because that's where I continue to post information and different ways to help you guys get going. You can ask questions. You can team up with people and kind of have an accountability partner. Like, it's pretty cool. And then I'm also going to send out the replay. So if you happen to, jump on halfway through, or for those of you that missed it, you'll get the replay. Will go out by latest end of the day tomorrow. All right, and this is my group. It's called Powerhouse Collective. That is the Facebook group. So I think you can search it and then request to join, or you can wait for the link. All right, here we go, Q&A. So if you have any questions about what I went over, now is the time to type them in. And yeah, and I will answer them. So let's see what we have. All right. Good. Okay, so someone asked, how exactly did I make $100,000 on Facebook? All right, how I did that exactly was what I explained in that, in the, what's it called? In my little formula. And what I did is I listened, and I found an area where I figured out what I was good at, right? And then I found an area where there was a problem, and I figured out how I could solve that problem, and I communicated about it. And over the last, year and a half, I've made over $100,000 just doing that. Yeah, that's how I did it. And by the way, that's what I'm doing again. I'm just repeating that formula with what I'm good at and what problems there are and how I can help with those problems. And sometimes it takes me a little bit of time of trying to figure out, okay, like what exactly is the problem and how am I going to solve it and communicate it. But yeah, that's how I did that. No questions, but great info. You rock. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that this is helpful. And you know what? If there are other questions, that's what the Facebook group is super awesome for, right? And you can reach out to me or email me. I really want to. There's so much potential for making a lot of money out there. And I really feel like you're welcome. I really feel like our field can really, like, if we all increase our income, right? Like our group prosperity will also increase, right? And so that's my mission, is I really want to help everybody increase their income and time too. That's a big thing. Like for me, like the idea of going back to a 9-to-5 for me is terrifying. I mean, I would do it if I had to, you know, but I don't have to, because there's so many different ways to make money out there. Agreed. Thank you. Excellent formula. Thank you. I'm glad that that is helpful. All right, let's see what else. I was telling someone who is doing billing about your medical billing seminar. Can I forward your link about the seminar? Yes, you can. If you don't have the link, just message me afterwards on Facebook or email or whatever, and I will send it to you. That's totally fine. And again, I do have the affiliate program, so if they sign up, I'll pay you as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. This was very enjoyable and informative. You're very welcome, Karen. Good. Okay. I think we've got all of the questions. If anyone else have any, now is your last chance. And again, I will do more. There will be a part 2, because there's just so much more. Like, I really want to be able to give you guys at least enough data that you have a starting point. And then I'm probably also, after that, will develop some sort of a group coaching or some sort of something, right, that really can kind of carry this all through. Yeah, so that's all coming. So the best place to be is the Facebook group, so that you can get that future information. I forwarded this to a friend. She couldn't make it. Can she get a video? Yes. Okay, so the replay is going to go out. It goes out automatically. It'll go out, it should be out tomorrow. And then you can forward her that link. That's totally fine. I think that's probably at this point, because if she registered before the webinar, she would automatically be on the list that would get the replay. But if she didn't, the best way is you'll get it, and then you can go ahead and forward it. That's totally fine. You are appreciated. Can't wait to see the Facebook group. Thank you very much. I'm glad I could help. And yes, find the Facebook group, because it's so fun. And I literally will like go through my day, and then I go, run into something that's super helpful, and I just make a quick video and I throw it in the Facebook group, right? Or like that eBay thing where I'm like, I should just screenshot this and tell them exactly how to search so that they're getting in the information they need. And I post it in the Facebook group. So definitely Facebook group. Okay, cool. All right, I think we got all the questions. Thank you guys very much for giving me your attention this evening. And I will see you in the Facebook group. Bye.